Lori here from Unique in the Creek with another tutorial. This one is called our Santa Cam. We have this gorgeous sign. I just love this sign. It's a new sign that they came out with. It is a wood sign. It is 10 inches, but it's so cute because look, it's got like a plastic dome over top of the camera. So it actually looks like a camera, like a spy cam. So this is a really, really fun wreath. We're going to keep it really simple and basic, just so we can showcase this really, really cool sign. Okay, so to do our base of our wreath, we're going to be using this border stripe black and white Deco mesh. And we are going to cut 16 pieces at 12 inches. And you're going to cut 16 pieces at 10 inches. Now, I just want to point out that gives you 352 inches between these two. There is 10 yards of mesh on your roll, which gives you 360 inches. What I'm trying to say is you have to pretty much make sure your cuts are exactly 12 inches and 10 inches to use the whole roll. If you are not using a rotary cutter and a cutting mat to cut your mesh, I would recommend doing 16 pieces at 11 inches and then 16 pieces at 10 inches. This gives you a little bit of grace so that you don't run out of mesh, okay? So row 1, we are going to be doing the 16 pieces of the 12 inch. Row 2, we are going to be doing 8 pieces at 10 inch. And row 3, we're going to be doing 8 pieces at 10 inch. Row 4 and 5, we won't be using at all because the sign is going to cover up this whole space. So you won't see the board. Okay, so again, 16 pieces at 12 inches, 16 at 10 inches. If you can't get precise cuts, I would recommend doing your 16 pieces at 11 inches. And again, row 1 is where we're going to use the 12-inch pieces, and row 2 and 3 is where we're going to use the 10-inch pieces. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to preload our board. Now, this is my preload board, and we are going to be doing every other one on row 2. So I don't need all those zip ties. So we are going to be using row 1, which you do not preload because that's the first row we're going to do, and we're going to be using the hole to the outside of the board. So we're not going to preload that right now. What we are going to do is preload every other hole on row 2. So you put a zip tie in, skip one. And it doesn't really matter where you start. Zip tie, skip one, zip tie, skip one, zip tie, skip one, all the way around row 2. And then row 3, you're going to do 8 pieces in their normal holes. So 1, 2, 3. And to preload, you go down and up with your zip tie, making sure the flat part of the zip tie is facing in between the 2 holes so that when you put the tail into the zip tie head, you will hear that zipping sound and it will lock. Okay, this takes some getting used to. So if you're struggling with your zip tie, make sure you look down and make sure that flat part is what's meeting the zip tie tail, and you'll hear that and it'll lock. Okay, so you're going to do every other hole on row 2 and every regular hole on row 3. Okay, and then once your board is preloaded and your mesh is cut, we are going to put a cable mount on the back of our sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this twine piece off. Now, you may want to take the stickers off. It's totally up to you. If the customer takes their sign off, you may not want them to see the tacky stickers. Okay, now I want to find the center of my sign. So I'm just going to take a ruler. And like I said, the sign is 10 inches. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's 10.5 inches. I'm sorry, it's 10.5 inches. Yes, it's 10.5 inches. Duh. So I'm going to put it on my cutting mat. What I'm trying to do is just find the center so I can put my cable mounts on. So I have the edge on the 10, and there's the 10.5. So half, we're going to do 5 1/4. Where's my marker? So I'm just using my ruler and my cutting mat. I'm just finding the center. So I'll make a line this way. And then 5 1/4 that way. And there's my center. Oh. And there's my center. It will be right there. So you can be precise or you can just guesstimate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our cable mount and a pipe cleaner. You're going to slide your pipe cleaner through this one of the slots there. Okay. Fold it up. Just like that. And then we're going to take the paper off. And I also like to take this actual rubber backing off. Now you can heat this up, the cable mount up with just hot water if you have a problem taking the backing off, this sticky backing. The reason we take it off is because eventually over time this adhesive gives way and your sign will fall off. So I like to glue my cable mount right to the sign. So the actual plastic right to the sign. It does work very well, the cable mount with wood. So you're going to use your hot glue, and you could put a nice dollop of hot glue right in the center. And put your cable mount on. Now don't press down with your fingers just because there is slits there and the glue will pop up. So I just use my little wire nippers to press it down and hold it there for a second. And then we'll put it aside because this will be the last thing we'll be using. So the glue should be set by then. Alrighty, so I'm going to put this to the side. Alright, so I have my 12-inch pieces. We are going to start on row 1. This is going to be, the sign is fairly big, so we want to make our base fairly big. And to do that, you start with row 1. So I've already started. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of your mesh, the 12-inch one for row 1, take your zip tie with make sure the flat part is facing up towards the ceiling, and you're going to go through one of the holes on row 1, and you can start anywhere and make it so it sits on the table almost like an L shape. Okay, so it's ready to go. And then with our mesh, we're going to use it curl up. Again, this is the 12-inch piece. You want your serged edges on the left and right, so the border stripe will be on the left and right, because this is the money, this is what you pay for, is this stripe metallic. And that's what's going to make the wreath really, really pop. So you're going to take it, fold it, the bottom just up near halfway. Okay, and you can use your clothespins if you need a little extra help to hold your fold. Now, this doesn't have to be precise because it is just a simple ruffle wreath. You can see how all the ruffles are in there. So it doesn't have to be precise or anything. And then you're going to fold the top just a little over the bottom seam in the middle there, like that. And you're going to just scrunch right up the center. So you have like a bow tie formation. Okay. And we are going to flip it so that the cut edge is facing down towards the table. And where you've pinched your mesh, you're going to put the pinched part right onto the board and then come around that pinched area with your zip tie. Okay, do it up. Don't do it up super tight just yet, because what we're going to do is make sure about that the zip tie is pretty much in the middle of our mesh. And I want you to take your mesh and bring it out to the outside of the board. So you're flipping it outwards. Okay, this is going to give the appearance of a very large base. Okay, without using a ton of mesh and supplies. So once you've flipped it out, do it up tight. Okay, and then you're going to move on to the next one. Now, if your mesh is in the way, when you go to use it, you can just use your clothespins to move it out of the way. Slide in your zip tie again. Again, curl up, bring the bottom edge, the bottom seam up, the top just a little over the bottom. So your border stripe is on the right and left of you. Pinch up the middle, like that, making a bow tie formation. We are going to face it down because we don't want to see any strings. Put that pinched area on the board, go around and do your zip tie up. Not super tight, because we're going to, again, fan the deco mesh going towards the outside of the board. And then once you've got that done and they both look like the same length, give it a tug. And then you can just keep pinning your mesh back. Okay, so once you have row 1 done, you're going to go around and clip off. Take your wire nippers, go right down to the head of the zip tie and clip off the tails of the zip tie. These are recyclable, so I have my little container over here. Okay, and we're ready to go to row 2. Row 2, we're doing every other hole, and we've preloaded them. What you're going to do is you're going to take your 10-inch piece. We're going to do the exact same fold, but just with the 10-inch piece. So you're going to bring it up, bring this one down. Again, it doesn't have to be super perfect. And then scrunch up the middle, okay? So just a little smaller ruffle. We're going to flip it down, and now we're going to flip it upwards. So it looks like this, okay? The two edges of the border stripe are at the top. Pinch it in the middle, and this middle nub, I call it, is going to go right into our preloaded zip tie about a ½ inch in. Okay, and I use a finger, like a half fingertip. Just making sure it's in, and then do that nicely and tight into the zip tie. And then once we got it all in, we're gonna fluff our ruffles out and put our sign in. I've pre-done a bunch of my 10-inch ones, just using these little sewing clips I got from Amazon. So you just want to put that right into the zip tie. So you see why we preload our board before we even start our wreath. It's just easy access to get it all done, and then just pop everything right in. Okay, so you're doing 8 of those. Once you're done that row, you're going to clip off your tails again, and we're going to start on the next row, which is another 8, row 3. Done that, again, clip off your zip tie tails, and our base is done. So what we're going to do now is just kind of bring out, pull forward these ruffles so we can see all the pretty stripes going different ways. Making sure none of our mesh is stuck and laying down flat, because we want to see every single one of these beautiful edges. This is why we pay good money for this kind of mesh, because it's very pretty and we don't have to use ribbons. All right, I think I'm happy with that. All right, and now we're going to get our hanging holes, which is right at the top here. There's 2 holes. You're going to go down one and up the other. Do your zip tie up till you hear a zip. Leave some space. Cut the tail off so we have our hanger. This is the top of your wreath. So when you go to put your sign on, make sure you put your sign on facing the correct way. So this is top up here. So what I'm going to do is take one of these ends of the pipe cleaner and go in one hole. The other one's going to go in the other hole. You're going to lift up your board off the table and then grab each of the pipe cleaner ends. And don't pull too hard, because that glue is still drying. And just until it hits your ruffles. I'm going to just pull some of these out before I tighten. We want to see all this. And so you can see how the black and white ruffles really makes the sign pop. Super, super cute, especially for kids. So if you have grandkids or anything, this is a great wreath. So they think Santa is watching. Okay. I'm going to flip this over, give it a twist. Okay. We're going to cut some of this excess pipe cleaner off. Put the pipe cleaners back down the hole so we have a nice neat back and nothing scratching our door. Make sure your sign is centered and your ruffles are up. It is resting on the mesh, so you don't see any of the board. Super, super cute. I really like this one. Very simple, very simplistic, but super, super cute. For some added adhesion, you can slide your glue gun just underneath your sign, just like this. Just and dab a little bit of glue, kind of right near the edge of the sign, so it does glue to the mesh underneath. And you just need to do a few spots like this. Alrighty, make sure it's even. We'll just hold it there for a second till the glue grabs. And we have one very super cute, super adorable wreath. I think this is one of my faves. It's very cute. I wish I had this when my kids were growing up. There we go. It measures 24 inches, which is a beautiful size for a front door. And there we go. And you can see the glow of the reflection on the actual, what appears to be the lens. So it's really, really cute. Alrighty, so thank you for joining me. I just wanted to show you a really easy way to do a wreath just using some beautiful mesh and one roll of it. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get notified when new tutorials are posted. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.